Lorne, Mackenzie is Director of Regulatory Affairs for WestJet, which is based here in Calgary, Canada. Lorne was born in Eastern Canada and obtained his MBA from Royal Roads University in Victoria, BC, Canada. So he's been every section of Canada. He started his career in aviation during the summer of 1992 as City Ticket Office Manager for Canadian Airlines in Beijing. He remained in China in a number of capacities before returning to Victoria as Canadian Regional Airlines Station Manager. After almost 5 years in a variety of roles at CRA, which became part of Air Canada Jazz, Lorne joined Zip Airlines with Air Canada, and then he joined WestJet in August of 2004. And he oversees the accessibility portfolio at WestJet, so I'm sure there'll be lots of questions for him.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorne Mackenzie. I'm with WestJet Airlines. I am going to do a relatively brief presentation on a device that we use for transfers between a person's wheelchair and the aircraft. I'll talk a little bit about what that experience looks like, about the device itself, and then I have a little video on how it's used to demonstrate how we use it for everybody. Essentially what we have is a device that's going to take a person out of their chair and transfer them onto the aircraft. It is based on, this information is provided to us based on initial contact. So when a guest, we call them guests, but it could be a passenger, phones us up and says, I need to do transfer, we would document the file, make sure that information is passed downline to all the affected airports, the cabin crew, the pilot, as everyone's aware, including the ground staff in case there's a chair, a power chair or a manual chair that needs to be loaded. And then we execute the transfer. The advantages or some of the primary objectives behind this device is it provides safety. So it's a safe way to transfer people. It's safe for the employees because there's less direct lifting. It provides, and again this is subjective, but it could be a more dignified way of transferring people. Everyone has their own particular needs, but we found it in most cases, feedback has been it's a dignified way to transfer people. It's quicker without complications. It's generally quicker than a manual lift, and only 2 employees are used in the transfer. So that's what the Eagle 2 looks like. It's sort of a aluminum frame with a sort of a hoist mechanism that will carry the sling up and down. So there's 2 versions. It's made by Haycomp, which is a company out of Australia. The version we have is the Eagle 2, which is used for jets with 3 seats on each side. So your typical 737 would be an example. The Eagle 2 would be a commuter-size aircraft. It's more of a Q400 where you have 2 seats on each side, and it's sort of a narrow aircraft. It has a lower range because of the overhead bins tend to be a little lower. But both devices have the capacity to lift you over an armrest in the event that the armrest is fixed. It's designed for 2 people to use. We have used other techniques in the past. We have a sling that we've used in certain cases where a guest of size was put into a sling and carried into the aircraft seat. Again, some challenges with personal hygiene, proximity, that sort of thing. So this only needs 2 people. It does have a maximum weight of 440 pounds. So in excess of 440 pounds, the unit will disengage, so it just won't be able to lift it. So there's a limit in terms of size and weight of a guest. And of course, we need to know if there's anything unique about that person's transfer. Perhaps they have other devices or other equipment that wouldn't be able to use the machine. But I'll give you a quick demonstration using the video. And then if you have, we'll do a quick summary. Well, it does come in 3 sizes, the sling, so it, again, relative to the weight and size of the guest. Let's have a look at this.
Hey guys, my name is Najee. We've got Lucy over here, and we've got Michelle. Michelle's going to be our guest for the day. This nifty thing that I have here, this is the sling that we are actually going to be putting around Michelle. This is how we're going to lift the guest out of the wheelchair. Blue tab on the back, and you have the all white bit right here. You want to make sure the all white bit is pointing all the way up. Do the same thing with the other side. So we're going to make sure that the all white bit rotate and up. Cool. All right, so that's basically it. Now what we're going to do, we're going to ask our guest, Michelle, just to lean forward a smidge. Excellent. We're going to put our hand in the pocket at the back of the sling, right here, just like that. So we're going to go down like this, get all the way to the bottom of the chair. Just like that. So watch your arms. It's going to run along the length of their legs. So we want to make sure that the brake is on. Then we're just going to shimmy it a little bit, and then we're going to cross it underneath, just like this. Alrighty. Alright. And that's a basic demonstration of how we set up the sling on the guest. We're going to adjust our guest, Michelle, into the actual Eagle device. So I'm going to prep a couple things on here. So first thing we need to do is lift the latch, and we're going to push this out a little bit, and then for safety lock in the latch. And then the frame, we're going to lift this little black knob and then spin it around. And now we're going to move Michelle right into the frame of the Eagle here. And again for safety, we'll set the brakes. Now we're going to take these little plastic bits here. They look kind of flimsy, but they are apparently space age plastic, so they will support the full weight of the guest. And we're going to go like that. Awesome. You want to make sure that they're cinched up as much as possible. There we go. That's okay? Yeah. Next step is to actually lift Michelle out of the wheelchair.
Okay, we are raising our guest now out of the wheelchair with the arrow button.
Did you feel any pinching, any discomforts in the sling?
Going
Nothing?
up?
Cool.
Nope.
Alrighty. And she's clear.
We're going to remove the chair now. So we have clearance. I'll remove the wheelchair.
Cool.
Get it out of the way.
What we're going to do, we're going to just set the guest properly so we can get her into the plane. And how we're going to do that is we're going to lift the black knob here. We're going to rotate it. The beauty about this, it doesn't matter if they're 50 pounds or 440 pounds, this will rotate just as easily with any weight. After that, we lift the flap, we just pull her in a little bit, and we lock it in.
Now we're going to lower Michelle as low as her legs will be resting on the crossbar here.
Just a bit more. Good. Excellent.
So now they're stabilized. Prior to our guests coming down, as a team, one of us would preset the slide right down here onto the aircraft. Another apparatus we preset is our transition ramp prior to our guests coming down.
We're going to actually lift Michelle up, and Lucy, I'm going to get you just to watch to see if she's cleared here.
We're good for clearance, Najee.
Now what I'm going to do, just for safety, I'm going to extend the quad just so we get a little more stability, so that way we don't get any tipping action happening. I'm going to just straighten the frame up just a tiny bit here to get Michelle. Awesome. We're going to lower Michelle all the way down till you're going to see a little tiny shake from the frame here. Just like that. That's indicating that it's down all the way. That makes these easy to come out, just like that. So now what we're going to do, now that we've got our guest nice and snug into the seat of the aircraft, we're going to remove the Eagle out of the way. So how we're going to start is I mentioned before the little claw here. We're just going to retract that like that. Alright. And then before we take this out, this thing is kind of cool because it goes like this and you don't have to tell the guests to duck if they don't have that capability. And then Lucy will take the eagle out of the aircraft. And now, what I'm going to do, Michelle, is just uncross the little straps here that we did before. There we go. There we are. Cool. Alright, I'm going to get you to lean forward just a little bit here. Alright. Excellent. Now it comes out nice and easy. And now we're ready to slide our guests down into our seat.
Thanks, Naji. I felt very safe and comfortable the whole time, and it is very effective for our guests.
As you can see, your Eagle 2 is very easy for us to use.
It's safe for us as employees working with the guests.
And safe for our guests.
And the bonus is, no one was hurt making this video.
All right. WestJet currently has one of these units at every airport in Canada, or will be having by the end of this year. So, and that includes our what we call third tier or second tier airports, which are smaller terminals. We've just found that these are effective in terms of transfers. So just in closing, I think what we've found is that this device is an option. It is a technology that we can use for transfers. I'm going to acknowledge that we do have lots of favorable feedback, but we've also had unfavorable feedback. It really depends on the unique situations of the guests. But at the end of the day, this will facilitate more people traveling to more destinations. So thank you very much.
Before I open up questions, I have a question for you, and that is, what proportion, in the use so far, what proportion of guests use this kind of device versus kind of the traditional devices?
Well, today, I think the guidance that we've given to our frontline employees is this is the option going forward. So anytime, once we've been notified that a transfer is required, this device is set up to do the transfer. I think there's been only a handful of cases where the guest has said, I'm not using that device, but in the vast majority, they'll accept to use the device. So,
Questions? Sir.
What is the average transfer time that you use? And also, if you could address whether you should use it at the airplane entry or at the top of the bridge.
Sure. On average, before the device, the average time was anywhere up to 15 to 20 minutes. It depends, because then we're looking at often without resources, the metal device that was alluded to by Anne, which is a crank or a mobility, a metal device, and that takes considerable time. This is obviously much quicker because it's freewheeling. So we believe that this device should reduce that by half or at least 10 minutes. We think it'll be in the average around 10 minutes. Again, case by case. Each person's unique and has unique circumstances. And the other question was with respect to... Oh yeah, the current expectation is we will bring you down in your chair as far as we can. That's always our hope, is to leave the guest in their own chair as long as possible and transfer at the last moment. So if we can get the guest chair to the bridgehead, the transfer takes place at the bridgehead over that ramp and then into the aircraft.
Other questions?
The person was transferred into an aisle seat. So what happens to those two other seats? Are they left empty, or does somebody crawl over her, or
Right.
what if she can't shift over?
Good, excellent question. So with the exception of emergency exits and certain designated bulkhead rows, we generally encourage guests to choose their seat. We do have priority seating for guests with disabilities, but if the guest chooses to sit by the window, and according to our flight attendant manual, that is actually the recommended seat for carry-on, carry-off, is the window seat, yeah. So as you saw, the sling was right across, so there is an ability to lift the sling and transfer them from that aisle seat to the window seat, and then remove the slings in the same way.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting.
Thank you.